Hey guys, Ramsey here. Wanted to do a should you read Dune? Really wanted to start with Dune, the first book, and then maybe even tell you, hey, let's check out this series. So I may even start a whole series of videos on the books in the Dune series. So we're going to start with Dune. Here we go. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone, past, I will turn the inner eye and see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing, only I will remain. This is a quote from early on in the book that is one of the most quotable that we'll see. Dune is a story about struggle, the struggle of life on a desert planet, the political struggle of two rival dukes and an emperor who has sent them against one another, and Paul Atreides and his struggle with his impending destiny. Guys, I am so super excited to share with you my thoughts on Dune. Dune is a book that I read as a teenager. Coming back to it again, it holds up. It holds up so well. And I am super excited to share my thoughts with you on this one. This is going to be spoiler free, kind of just a jump in for the whole series. Then I'll come in, and as soon as it's ready, I'll link up above a in-depth review of the first book in the Dune series, which is Dune itself by Frank Herbert. And I just want to jump in and give you guys the joy that I was able to experience through this book, and just share with you some of my thoughts on the whole series, on the things that are going on through the series. And I'm really excited to get to know these books more. I'm really excited to get to know the universe more. I've only read book 1 and 2, so going through this reread, I'm going to continue on in the series, really get into it with you guys. Want to do breakdowns on this stuff, uses for the spice melange, the way that the worms interact with the planet and all the things like that. Paul and his life and the struggle with the Atreides family and the Harkonnen family and the Emperor and all that goes on between those warring factions, and what the planet of Arrakis means, what the entire galaxy means, what we get into. There's prequel series and all kinds of cool stuff that I really want to dig into with you guys. And so for me, Dune is the quintessential sci-fi story, right? It's the one that I think I cut my teeth on first. It's the one that's always stuck with me. Many authors have pulled snippets from this series and brought it into their worlds, so a lot of it feels very familiar. Mike from Mike's Book Reviews was talking about how he feels like the Aiel in Wheel of Time feels so much like the Fremen in Dune, and I completely agree with them. They even talk about things the same way. The struggle where they're looking for water, like thinking of just how much people need water on this planet, how important it is, where they're recycling body fluids and drinking their own sweat, that kind of stuff. That just, you see such a thought go into this, and the way that Frank Herbert planned out the series and the way that Frank Herbert planned out this book in general, just amazing to learn about what he did here. Man, it blew my mind. Some topics I want to go into that aren't spoilers is we start with the Atreides family. They're on their home world and they're moving to Arrakis. The reason they're moving to Arrakis is because the Emperor is setting what they know to be a trap for them to go to Dune, Arrakis, and take over the spice production. So there's a company called Chom, which is the big overarching company that controls the sale of spice melange. Spice helps the pilots travel through interstellar travel. It gives them a bit of precognition where they're able to kind of predict ahead of time where they'll be going. So it gives them the ability to use faster than light travel. Because they need it so much, because the spice is so important, it's become the most valuable resource in the entire galaxy. So the Atreides family are basically becoming the people in charge of the most important thing in the galaxy. So the Emperor is really putting his hands in it. And his arch nemesis, the Harkonnens, was in charge of it beforehand. So they're getting booted off the planet, and then the Atreides family is coming onto the planet, and that's really where the crux of the struggle comes from. So they know this is a trap. They know that the Harkonnens are going to strike at them, and they're trying to prepare for this. So as they go to the planet, they meet the natives who the Harkonnens have tried to eradicate but cannot because they're such good fighters. They're marvelous in the desert. They have these giant sandworms that every time you try to mine the spice, the sandworms come. They said no matter what, sandworms are coming. And so it's really, really interesting to see the ecosystem where you have the spice, you have the worms, you have the Fremen, and everybody wants the spice, and the Fremen, treat it completely different than everybody else on the planet or in the whole galaxy, honestly. And so it's amazing to see that dynamic. And then Paul is been trained his whole life in a bunch of different things. It'd be hard to go into right now without going into too many spoilers. It's really, really cool. His mother's a Bene Gesserit, who you see so much correlation in the Wheel of Time and Dune, where they're even called Bene Gesserit witches, which, I said I witches. It clicked in my head right away. It was amazing to see that. And then his mother's been training him in their ways. So she wants him to be I'm going to say this wrong. The Kwisatz Haderach. If I said it wrong, I'm very sorry. But she wants him to be the male version of Bene Gesserit because they cannot access a part of the mind. So they know that eventually the male Kwisatz Haderach will be able to access this part of the mind and be able to do things that no Bene Gesserit has been able to do before. And we also find out that he's been trained as a mentat. So he has superior levels through genetic, planned breeding. He is like an amazing specimen of humanity. They've been planning him for years and years and years and years. So through this genetic breeding and planning, Paul is almost superhuman mental capacity. And then you add spice on top of that, and he's starting to see some things that he just, totally opens his mind to another level of consciousness. So parts that stuck out to me were just the way that the planet was, the interaction between the people who came there, and then the freemen that already lived there, and then the worms, the spice, and all that was going on in the world. That was amazing. The characters were really, really cool as well. We meet great characters. We have Paul and his mother. We have Duke Leto, his father. We also have his family men. We have Duncan Idaho. We have Gurney Halleck. And we have Fulfur Hawat. And we have Dr. Yu. So all of these men have been training Paul his whole life in fighting, in mental ability, in how to deal with all kinds of stuff. And so he has, like I said before, that supernatural level of mental ability, which is really, really cool to see. He even has another level of fighting ability that he learned from his fighting instructors and from his mom. So Paul's ready to rock and roll, and everybody's excited because the religious lore on Arrakis has said that one day a son of a Bene Gesserit will come to the planet and be this figure for them. So really what I want to do is I want to give you the idea of I'm going to continue on with this series, and I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. I hope that the excitement and the energy kind of really comes through, and you guys see that. I love this book. 5 stars for me all across the board, and I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you guys. Can't wait to do the in-depth review. Again, that will be linked. You just click the I. It should be there as soon as I have it done. And I'm hoping to really dive in and get some great conversation started about this wonderful sci-fi epic, starting with the book Dune and continuing on. And then after Frank Herbert died, his son finished the series for him. Actually had Kevin J. Anderson help him. Through his notes, we got the continuation of the series, and we're able to get the complete story. So we have the complete story out there, and hopefully you stay with me through my channel, and we can get this, and it'd be a cool, awesome part of our YouTube journey. So thanks, guys. If you would like, Discord link down below. Sometimes I do giveaways down there, and we'll have Twitter and Goodreads as well. So talk to you later. Bye.